guys, and welcome back to the channel, and today I am going to be doing something of a tag video. This is a video that you've maybe seen doing the movie rounds on YouTube. I first saw it on Jodie's Movie Realm channel, and it's originally from Blu-Roy Movies. I will link both channels in the bottom, so definitely check them out. There are 11 genres, and Jodie added an extra one in for 12, so I'm going 12. I could have added more in. Definitely found footage isn't in there, but you would be here all night with the waffling I like to do. So here we go with 12 different genres. So if you want to take part in this, also I will pop the 12 genres in the description so that you can have a look and do it yourself. And yeah, I'm going to go down the list and I am going to tell you a few that I like from that genre, and then I'll tell you overall a favourite if I can manage it. So let's kick off with my favourite genre of all, which is horror. Now, I have three movies that I find very, very difficult to differentiate between of my favourites, and they are Texas Chainsaw Massacre, the original, American Werewolf in London, and Misery. Three quite different movies, I'm sure you'll agree. Of those movies, the one that scares me the most is most definitely Texas Chainsaw Massacre. The first time I saw that was on a really poor quality copied VHS from a friend, and they'd actually recorded something else on the VHS for me. It was FBI forensic files. I'm addicted to true crime. I saw it in my probably very late teens, and at the end of it, Texas Chainsaw Massacre was on there, and I wasn't the same after watching that movie. I thought it was incredible. I love when a movie frightens me. It happens so rarely, it's ridiculous. So for it to manage to freak me out, the dinner scene in that, incredible. Yeah, so Texas Chainsaw Massacre is definitely to me the most frightening film. Misery of those three is the one I enjoy the most because I think it's a masterclass in acting. I absolutely love it. And Annie Wilkes is one of my favourite movie characters of all time. American Werewolf in London contains the best werewolf transformation scene ever, still all these years later. Can I choose between those three? No, I can't. I shan't. I'm leaving those three. I can for most genres, but horror is where my heart lies, and those movies I can't differentiate, guys. So Texas Chainsaw, American Werewolf, and Misery for horror. So on to drama. One stands out for me above all others in the drama. You could maybe say it could be categorized under other genres, but I'm going for Shawshank Redemption because I think it's as close as you can get to a perfect movie. Everything from the characters to the dialogue to that thing that I absolutely adore in movies, TV shows, is the narration from the person that you're following or another character. And we get the narration in Shawshank Redemption from the wonderful Morgan Freeman, who plays Red. The reason he's called Red is because originally he was written as a ginger Irishman. Just in case you didn't know, why is he called Red? So yeah, Shawshank Redemption drama is just a perfect, perfect film. I love it. It managed that thing that I talk about sometimes, you know, that physical feeling that you get when you're watching a movie where something you never expected it and it just sends a shiver from your head to your feet. That movie managed it. The poster scene, which I won't, surely if you're watching this you've seen Shawshank Redemption. If you haven't, you're missing one of the best movies ever, so go watch it. But that poster scene, absolute shivers, loved it. Thriller. Now this is a difficult one because so many thrillers fit into so many other categories, but I consider a thriller is most Quentin Tarantino movies. A lot of people would say they're action. I love Quentin Tarantino. I think my favourite of his is Reservoir Dogs. I have written Reservoir Dogs down here as my favourite thriller. A lot of people may think it's a bit OTT for thriller, so I've put The Usual Suspects in here. It's a big favourite of mine. Also gave me that shiver when we find out who Kaiser Soze is at the end of this film. Absolutely amazing. A bit of a controversial pick for some of the people that's in, one of the people that's in there, but it doesn't take away from the fact that The Usual Suspects is an absolutely incredible film. I absolutely love it. So that's my thriller pick. Western. This is a hard one, guys. I'm not a West. Other than the wonderful Red Dead Redemption series, when are they going to make a movie out of that? Come on now. I'm not a big fan of Western. I mean, back in the day, I liked the Young Guns films. My dogs have decided they're going to have a bark now. So for Western, I've written one that you may not consider Western, but it's categorized as Western, so I'm going with it. It is The Nightingale from 2018. This is a movie that follows an Irish lady who teams up with an Aboriginal tracker in Australia to track down the person responsible for basically carrying out an atrocity against her family. It's a very, very hard-hitting movie. It's very difficult to watch in places. It's beautifully, impeccably acted. The cinematography is amazing. This movie brings me to tears every time I watch it. I think it's absolutely incredible. I was going to go with The Revenant, which I really enjoy, or Bone Tomahawk, which it's worth sticking with that one to see the ending of it. But The Nightingale is just far surpasses most other westerns to me. It isn't a genre I know an awful lot about, guys, so forgive me for not coming up with something that probably is known as one of the best westerns, but it's just not a genre I tend to watch. 5 is War. I've gone with a slightly different one here. I adore Saving Private Ryan. I love Hacksaw Ridge, Thin Red Line, loads of war movies. But I've gone with Life is Beautiful. I'd also like to bring attention to Guillermo del Toro's movies, which always have, well, quite often have the subject matter of war running concurrently with whatever you're watching. So Pan's Labyrinth, Devil's Backbone, they always have that very strong in the background. But Life is Beautiful, you probably know, is one of the first, I think it's the first foreign movie to win Best Movie at the Oscars. This is the movie following a man who is trying to get his sons through the war. They're in concentration camps. He is trying to make out that this is all a big game and a big competition to his very young son, and that they're going to be saved at the end, and a tank's going to be the big surprise. And it's a movie which shows you the atrocities of war on a personal level, on a relationship level, but also the love between father and his son trying to protect him from the harsh realities of life and what's happening. And it's just a beautiful movie to watch. It's one of my favourite movies of all time. Life is Beautiful comes in as my favourite war movie, although granted it is a bit of an unusual pick. And number 6, Sci-Fi. This is probably my second least favourite genre. I'm not a big sci-fi fan. Some I absolutely love. I adore Alien and Aliens, and I think the third one too. Now, I thought for many years that Aliens was my favourite Alien movie until I went to see a screening of it that Fright Club Northern Ireland put on recently. I'm sorry about my dog, she's going mad. And as much as I really do enjoy Aliens, I think it's a fabulous movie, Alien is my favourite, so I've mentioned that one. One I have to mention is District 13, which is the movie that I most want to see a sequel of above any other movie. I want a sequel of District 13, folks. And I have to say I really enjoyed Mickey 17 that was released earlier this year. A lot of people weren't big fans, but I loved it. I thought it was really, really good. But of those three, favourite sci-fi movie, unfortunately for Alien fans who'll probably think it's sacrilege, I'm going to pick District 13 just because it spoke to me on a personal level. I absolutely loved it. Next is romance. This is probably one of my least favourite categories. I don't know why. I have figured out that the romances I enjoy, when it works for me, is when there is a bit of tragedy in there, which, am I right in the head? What's wrong with me? My favourite romance movie is Amy Foster, also called Swept from the Sea, which stars Rachel Weisz and Vincent Perez. Vincent Perez playing the most perfect male character in film ever. He's so sweet. He's such a wonderful character. Basically, it follows him being shipwrecked off the coast of the UK, off the coast of England, and he meets Amy Foster, who is a reclusive, bit weird, gothic girl, played absolutely implicitly by Amy Foster, and they find a home in each other. They find he's coming from, I thought it was Russia, but apparently it's actually Ukraine. And he is shipwrecked. He doesn't speak any English, and this movie follows them getting together, how the locals treat him, and it's such a beautiful, heartfelt movie. I absolutely adore it. So if you haven't seen Amy Foster, Swept from the Sea, check it out. It's my favourite. Another I've written here is Where the Crawdads Sing. I know that overall it's probably not known as a romance movie, but to me it works beautifully as a romance movie. Again, we've got tragedy in there. I don't know what it is. Throw a bit of tragedy in there and I'm all in. But those two movies, but my favourite will always be Amy Foster. until something else comes along that I prefer, but it hasn't yet. Next is comedy. Now, I am a bit of an irreverent comedy fan. There's not much these days that tends to that's gonna knock my favourites off the list. If you know me well, you will know that See No Evil, Hear No Evil is my favourite comedy movie. I saw that at the cinema when I was a teenager who wasn't old enough to be in watching it. Very shortly after or before, I saw Dirty Rotten Scoundrels, which is also way up there. Those two movies for many, many years have been my favourite comedies, and the only movies to come close, and neither of these movies beat those movies, is Borat, which I don't know why, guys. My wife. It's so funny. I just find Borat hilarious. But that movie overall wasn't like high quality. There were scenes in the movie that made me cry with laughter, but it didn't have the same, quality throughout. And the other one is Step Brothers. I don't know why, but I find that movie hilariously funny. It just makes me almost want to wee laughing. But even though I've mentioned those four, my favourite will always be following Wally and Dave as they try to get to the bottom of who committed the crime so they don't get the blame in See No Evil, Hear No Evil. If you haven't seen it, check it out, guys. It's a fabulous movie. Next is Crime. Now, how can I not say Silence of the Lambs for this? Because it's one of my favourite movies, but that's my answer. Silence of the Lambs is my answer for Crime. Seven has to get a mention here, but there's a little film that Sam Glendinning brought to my attention called Le Trou. It's a French movie from 1960, and this is like a prison movie, but most of the cast, or a lot of the cast of this movie, are actually played by the original inmates who were involved in this escape plan. It's a fabulous movie. If you like things like The Birdman of Alcatraz, or is it Escape from Alcatraz? If you like prison breakout movies, check out Le Trou. It's Trou from 1960. I believe it's French, and it is fabulous. Absolutely love it. Still going with Silence of the Lambs though. Next is action. Now this is another genre that I don't know an awful lot about. I watched more action when I was younger. I went through a Jean-Claude Van Damme phase where I first saw Kickboxer, absolutely loved it. Bloodsport, went through that for a while. Things like Best of the Best, loved that kind of thing. But the movie I've written for my action pick is Upgrade, which some of you may say, Lisa, that's horror. It's horror action. So Upgrade, I was very impressed by, completely my type of action. So yeah, that's my choice for action. And lastly, guys, the one that Jodie added in was family. So like kids movies, but not animated. Animated's not in there, is it? It is. I missed it. I've skipped animation. Apologies, guys. So the animation choice for me would be Toy Story, which I saw in the cinema. It was the first kids film that I'd actually been to see in the cinema since I was a child. I was an adult when I saw Toy Story in the cinema, and it was like nothing I had seen before. It was so new, it was so innovative. The animation style was just so like, flipping hell, what am I looking at? It was incredible. I also absolutely adore Coco. Just the whole world, the whole Dia de los Muertos, all of that really interests me, really appeals to me. But Toy Story, I will never forget how that made me feel the first time I saw it in the cinema. I just spent the first like half hour marveling at what I was looking at. It was like, flipping hell, what is this? Is amazing. So Toy Story is my favourite animation. So let's go back to family. Now, I have the same pick as somebody else for this one. Or they mentioned it. I think it was Ollie that mentioned this, quite possibly on 5 influential films that shaped his like movie, like 5 films that sort of shaped you or like influenced you. I think he chose my pick for that tag. I have to mention for this Back to the Future, even though it is a 12, it's maybe not suitable for younger children. I don't know. To me it is. Back to the Future is the first movie that I watched as a child where I came away obsessed. It's one of the movies that made me absolutely adore film. I would say Jaws, Back to the Future, and Poltergeist would be the 3 movies that made me like just become obsessed with movies, and I saw them all as a child. I just think Back to the Future is a perfect film. I'm so delighted they've never remade it. They've tried, and they have asked specific actors. to the role that Michael J. Fox played, and they have turned it down and said there's nothing I can do to this role that is gonna make it any better, that's gonna make it, you know, leave it alone. And flipping right they are too, leave that well alone. But my choice for family is Willy Wonka and the Chocolate Factory, the original with Gene Wilder. It was one of my favourite books as a child growing up. I think the book's maybe called Charlie and the Chocolate Factory, is it? Can't remember, but the movie Willy Wonka and the Chocolate Factory was just a magical movie for me as a child. As I say, it was my favourite book. And when I actually got to see that translate onto the TV. Now, I wasn't aware there was ever, obviously, I'm not as old as sort of like it was made when I was about, so no, we're not quite that old yet. But I didn't see it for quite some time after I'd loved the book. That when we used to rent the old VHS from the video store on a Saturday, it was always horror. My dad rented the movies. My dad was a big horror fan, hence why I have the love of horror I have today. So most movies I watched on VHS growing up were horror movies. I did eventually get to see Willy Wonka and the Chocolate Factory, and it was just everything I wanted and more. It was a beautiful, amazing, fantastic film, and Gene Wilder as Willy Wonka, never to be surpassed. So there we go, guys, 12 genres. There are some more I could add in there, but I'm not going to talk any longer. So do you want to do the tag, people? Do you want to tell us your favourite movies in these genres? Obviously give credit to Blu-Roy movies if you do the tag. But I won't tag. The fucking dogs are off again. Right, I'm going to go before any more noise happens. Thank you for watching, guys. Over and out from Lisa Loves.